Welcome to Mr. T's December 12th, Wednesday study guide. This is due on Tuesday, but if you're having trouble with it, here's a little video to help you with it. So in this problem, we're looking at, we have intersecting lines. And what we know about intersecting lines is we have vertical angles, they're across from each other. Vertical angles are equal. If we have adjacent angles are next to each other. So E and 22 are adjacent. They share this common line right here. Okay, and what we know about adjacent angles is they have a sum of 180 degrees because these two angles create a line. And lines are 180 degrees. So what we need to do is we need to use vertical and adjacent angles to find these missing angles. However, there is one angle, angle B, that doesn't have any other vertical or adjacent angles. So there's another plan we need for this angle. What we have to do is we have to find the angle sum of this polygon. And if we know all but one of the angle measurements, we can find the missing angle. So that's the plan for this problem. So let's start out here with A. I notice 120 degrees and angle A are vertical angles. They're across from each other. They're equal. So A is 120 degrees. Angle E is similar. 87 degrees and angle E, they're vertical angles, so they're equal. E is 87 degrees. Then we have C, angle C, and 22 degrees. They're adjacent. They share this line, so they have an angle sum of 180 degrees. If I subtract 22 degrees from 180 degrees, I get 158 degrees. So angle C is 158 degrees. Angle D right here, this is also adjacent. 60 and angle D are adjacent angles. Their sum is 180 degrees because they create this line. 180 minus 60 is 120. Angle D is 120 degrees. Now, the formula method for the angle sum of a polygon states that the number of sides minus 2 times 180, this is the formula for the angle sum of a polygon. This polygon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. So I'm going to plug in 5 for the number of sides.
3.
I know that I need to do parentheses first. The difference is 3 times 180. All 5 of these angles have to have a sum of 540 degrees. So let's add up the 4 I know. 120 plus 158 plus 120 plus 87. I get 15, 3, 8, 16, 18, 2, 4, 485 degrees. So I know 485 degrees plus angle B equals 540. So if I subtract 485 from 540, I get 55 degrees. So that's how we find all of those missing angles. Now let's get into we want to graph these inequalities. So if I have negative 4, what I'm going to do is on my number line, I'm going to put negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. Negative 4 is here, so I'm going to circle negative 4. Now, B is less than or equal to. So since it includes negative 4, I'm going to color this in. Ask your child about the manhole cover. We color it in, that means it includes that point. If the manhole cover isn't there, we'd fall right through and it doesn't include that point. So they can kind of explain that to you, what we talked about. But, so there is an or equal, it includes, so we color in. The inequality is not eating B, so we know it's less than, and we know less than is always to the left. There's an L in less than, so to the left. In greater than, the second letter is R, so greater than we go to the right. But this one is less than, or equal to. For this next one, we have K. So I have 8 and 13. So on my number line, I'm going to have Here's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Here's 15. I'm going to circle 8 and 13. Here's 8, and here is 13. So first I want to look at this inequality. K is greater than or equal to 8. Because of this or equal to, I have to color in the 8. And it's the inequality is eating the K, so it's greater than, so we're going to the right. And the other inequality, 13, there's no or, it's less than, no or equal to. So we don't color it in. Less than means we're going to the left. So there is, now I've graphed that inequality. Down here, I have x is less than -7, and x is greater than or equal to -2. So let's go -10, 1, 2, 3, 4, -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. So I'm going to circle -7 right here, and I'm going to circle -2, which is right here. I'm going to look at the one on the left. X is less than -7. There's no or equal to, so I don't color in, and less than goes to the left. And the other inequality, x is greater than or equal to -2, there's the or equals, so I color in. Greater than means I take it to the right. Okay, now we have c plus 7 is less than 8. So,
oh, then c would have to be 0 or a negative number.
Well, let's see. I know when we were solving first degree algebraic equations, we were in our transposing stage, where we're trying to get all of our variables to one side and everything else to the other. So I have all our variables on the left side. I have to get rid of the 7. And what undoes adding 7? Subtracting 7. So I need to do the same to the right side of the inequality. Those cancel, and I get c is less than 1. So if this were 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, this were 5, I circle the 1. It's less than, not equals to, so I don't color in, and less than is to the left. Here I have all my variables on one side, everything else on the other, so I just want to DBTC, that's what we call it, divide by the coefficient. In the age of texting, we need DBTC, divide by the coefficient 2. Do that to both sides. The 2's cancel, and I get x is greater than or equal to. Remember, when I'm dividing, in the signs are different. I get a negative quotient, and 2 goes into 44. Oh, 22 times. My students love 22. I don't know what it is.
You love 22.
But,
Did you not love 22?
But this is -22. This happens so often in our class. I can't believe it. I don't know. They just,
Yeah,
it's our
you
lucky
planned
number.
for it.
So here is -25, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is -20. I would never do that. It's just a lucky number.
Yeah, right.
-15. I circle -22. There is the equal sign. It includes it, so I color it in. And it's greater than or equal to, so that goes to the right. All right. Now, 3x minus 8 is less than or equal to 13. So what I need to do here is I'm trying to transpose. I'm trying to get rid of this -8. So what undoes subtracting 8? Adding 8. Whatever I do to the left, I do to the right. Those cancel, and I get 3x is less than or equal to 21. Now I want to DBTC. 3 is the coefficient. Remember, the coefficient is everything other than the variable x. So in this case, it's a 3. And the reason I want to divide by the coefficient is because any number divided by itself is 1. So the 3's cancel, and I get x is less than or equal to 7. So here is 5, 10, 15. So circle 7, there is the equals, so I color in. And it's less than or equal to because the inequality is not eating the x. So it's less than to the left. All right, this one is a little bit trickier, and this is a new concept we introduced yesterday. So same thing, I'm trying to isolate the variable on one side of the inequality. So what undoes adding 5? Subtracting 5. Whatever I do to the left, I do to the right. negative 2x is less than 13 minus 5 is 8. So now I'm dividing by both sides by the coefficient. Remember, it's everything other than the variable x, so negative 2. And we know a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So this is positive 1. Whatever I do to the left, I do to the right. These cancel, and I get x, and then 8 divided by a negative 2 is a negative 4. But in this case, we learned yesterday that if you divide both sides by a negative or you multiply both sides by the negative, we have to change the direction of the inequality. So instead of less than, it is now greater than. All right, so here is negative 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. Negative 4 would be right here. There's no equal, so I don't color it in. And greater than, it's eating the x, so we go to the right. Hopefully you have your reader glasses on, but because this is really small. On the test, I'll make this a little bigger for the kids. But I have 4s equals a negative 32. We talked about 5 steps to solving algebraic equations. The first step was to remove parentheses. We did that by using the distributive property. There aren't any parentheses or grouping symbols here. Then multiply by a common denominator. And this removes fractions, but there are no fractions, so I skip that step. Step 3 is combine like terms on the left. There's only one term, so there's nothing I can combine. And this is where we combine like terms, s's with s's, numbers with numbers, etc. And on the right, there's only one term, so we can't combine. And then the 4th step is to transpose. We have to get all of our variables to one side, everything else to the other. So this is already done. Our final step is DBTC, divide by the coefficient. Divide by 4, divide by 4. S is equal to negative 8. Here we're transposing. All of our variables are, and when we transpose, if we have variables on both sides, first we deal with moving the variables to one side, then we get rid of everything else. In this case, our variables are all on the left side, so I have to get rid of everything else. So I add a negative 5 to 5, because when you add the opposite, you get 0. Whatever I do to the left, I do to the right. Those cancel. I get 3m equals 12. Last step, DBTC. Divide by 3, divide by 3. The 3's cancel. M equals 4. All right, here, I don't know if you can see this, but it's a negative 3x minus 8. What undoes subtracting 8? Adding 8. Whatever I do to the left, I do to the right. Negative 3x equals 9. Divide by the coefficient, negative 3. Whatever I do to the left, I do to the right. X equals a negative 3. And our final problem. Now, I'm still in the transposing stage because there are no parentheses, fractions. I can't combine x's with numbers, so I'm on transposing. But now I have x's on both sides of the equation. So I got to decide, do I get rid of them on the right or the left? Now, if I add a negative 4x to both sides, it'll cancel here, but I'll get a negative 2x here. If I get rid of 2x, so I add a negative 2x here and a negative 2x here, it gets rid of it here, and I still have a positive 2x. So I tell the kids, if they don't want to have a negative coefficient, they should get rid of the variable where there's on the side with fewer variables. 2 is less than 4, so get rid of this side. But even if they did add a negative 4x to both sides, they know how to deal with dividing negative numbers. So it doesn't matter. But what I'll do is negative 2x to both sides. These cancel, and I get 2x plus 7 equals a negative 13. And then I need to add a negative 7 to both sides, or subtract 7 because subtraction undoes addition. Those cancel, and I get 2x equals a negative 20. Divide by the coefficient 2, and I get x equals a negative 10. And there you have it. That's our study guide. It's a lot. And we're going to practice today, Monday, Tuesday, and then the learning target is Wednesday. This is due on Tuesday. The learning target on Wednesday will be very similar, just numbers will change. I hope you enjoyed the very first Mr. T #22 video. The end.